Obama has expanded a program that makes it easier to pay back federal student loans. The pay-as-you-earn plan caps monthly payments at 10% of income. After 20 years, any remaining debt is forgiven. That time is reduced to 10 years for anyone working in the public sector, in public service. The program's expansion will help 5 million more borrowers. Now, until now, pay-as-you-earn was only available to recent graduates, but the president's executive order opens it up to students who took out loans before 2007. So joining us now is Rob Franek, Senior Vice President at the Princeton Review, also the publisher of Paying for College Without Going Broke. Thanks for joining us. Everyone wants to know how to do that. Maybe this will help more people not to go broke, right? So let's talk about this executive order. What are the benefits of this?
I think it's a huge benefit to so many more students, as you were saying, and your beginning summary. 5 million more students will be helped by this. Those students that are in the current pay-as-you-earn program are from October 2007 to October 2011, but now going back a couple years before that, 5 million more kids is a huge number. Yeah. But it's based on two premises. Students have to get a job after they graduate, and they have to apply for this program.
Right, and we talked about the debt forgiveness portion. You got to make sure you make your payments. Right?
Absolutely. You have to be a good loan citizen, and those are things that you should school yourself on the particulars beforehand, but as long as you continue those payments, there is such great value to so many students.
So there has been a lot of conversation about us reaching almost like a crisis level when it comes to student loans. Is this enough to alleviate the problem?
I think it will in a couple of ways. When we think about the numbers as they exist now, and we've talked about this in the past, $1.3 trillion in outstanding student debt, and now some of the things that we're hearing recently is that is stymieing young graduates from doing a couple of things. They don't get, they can't start young families, or they can't get married, or they can't buy their own home or rent an apartment. So there are many things that early on in your career after you graduate from college you would expect that you would want for yourself, and those things are stymied.
The first thing I thought of, though, was how can the government afford just to forgive all this money after 20 years? What's it going to do to the government?
I mean, it's a big commitment from the government level, but when we take the longer view and we think about those students that are now defaulting on their loans or not contributing to the economy, buying a house, starting a family, all the things that we think about being a young person that you might want to do, now those students are going to have the power to do those things much earlier on.
Now, Congress is planning on taking up a bill that will hopefully also help. It will allow students to renegotiate their loans so they can get a lower interest rate. What's the likelihood of this passing?
I mean, we can go back and forth on that. It's probably unlikely, but when we think about the value, and we were talking about this not too long ago, refinancing your loan debt from a couple years ago, saddling a student with an expense just because they happen to be 10 years older than current students doesn't seem very fair. So I'm hoping that there's an enlightened approach to make, again, the college that you had, your college experience that you had, much more agreeable to you financially.
Now, Speaker of the House John Boehner said of the president's new announcement that, you know, that's all fine and dandy, but it really doesn't affect the actual cost of education, and it's very high. What is it going to take to reduce the cost? I mean, we talked about maybe a few years ago, the big discussion was the education bubble, that things were going to get so expensive that people would just reject university outright. That clearly hasn't happened. They're just going into debt. Yeah, they are going into debt. From my perspective at the Princeton Review, college is still worth it, and we like to remind students that over their lifetime they're going to make at least $1 million more than a student without a college degree. They're more employable. There's so many benefits, but you're right. When we think about the average cost of college, you know, for a public and private school, it's heart-stoppingly expensive. $41,000 total cost of attendance of 1 year of private university in the States. Where there is value is that there's so many schools out there that might have a high sticker price that are doing, I think, what is the near impossible about making those costs affordable for the students and families. So never be, you know, scared when you see a high sticker price. Dig down into the homework and find out what that college is actually going to cost. Yeah, that's what the real homework starts before you start college, right? Rob Franek, Senior Vice President of the Princeton Review, also the publisher of Paying for College Without Going Broke. Thank you so much.
Good to be here. Thank you.